Have you ever been to a place, perhaps an old house, an empty school past closing time, or the quiet back room of a museum, and felt off about it?
I was frozen. Mr. Colville told me to keep going. I was so scared.
I'm your host, Mina Giddens, and this is Speck, Episode 2, Private Party. Make sure you stick around until the end for some updates from Episode 1. How are you all doing? I hope you haven't experienced any ghostly visitations since our last meeting. Or hope you have, if that's your sort of thing. I'm currently in a city suburb, absolutely nowhere near Speck, going to meet our guest for today.
I'm James, and I'm a pianist.
James is young, handsome, an artistic sort, reflected in his eclectic bohemian flat, which he shares with 3 roommates.
I mainly play at bars and restaurants. I teach on and off, but I hate doing that, so I prefer not to if I don't need the money. I was in London when they approached me. I'd never even heard of Speck.
Who approached you?
A couple, I'd say they were mid-60s, but they looked quite good for their age, you know? Sort of glamorous, like they had money. They said their name was Colville.
What did they want?
They'd heard me play and they liked it. So they wanted me to come and play at their house.
The Colvilles wanted James to play a private party. They were willing to pay a lot of money.
I was up for it. Parties like that are easy money, so I agreed straight away. I shook Mr. Colville's hand and I remember it felt cold and limp. A bit slimy. But there was nothing really unusual about them.
A couple of weekends later, James found himself making the winding journey to Speck, twisting down secluded hedge-lined lanes in the winter darkness. His destination? Bartlett Hall. I'm here at Bartlett Hall. It's absolutely stunning. Just beautiful. A long drive leads up to the house, fronted with formal gardens with geometric flower beds. The house is Jacobean. There's a stone above the front door marked with the date 1620. It's all very symmetrical. Gabled roofs and long chimneys. Just gorgeous. Unfortunately, I'm not actually able to go inside today, but I did a bit of research with the help of our lovely local librarian, Martha, and uncovered some photographs taken of the interior in 1962. I've shown them to James and he said,
It looked exactly like that.
So it seems it hasn't changed. The interior is as grand as the exterior. In the main hall, a black and white checked floor, and wood panelling spotted everywhere with oil paintings. Elizabethan, Stuart, Georgian and Victorian faces looking down at you from their lofty positions.
A butler. I thought he was a butler. Answered the door. It was beautiful inside, but it was cold, and it smelled damp and dusty. It was also quite dark. I couldn't see up the stairs to the first floor, not a chance. It was just black. It was creepy. But I thought he'd show me through to the party room, and it'd all be fine.
What happened next is hard for James to talk about. You've not spoken about this since it happened, right?
Not since it happened.
James was led through to what the owners of a house like Bartlett Hall would probably call a drawing room. It was dark, most of the light coming from a fire roaring in the hearth. There were only 6 people in the room, 3 couples, one of whom were the Colvilles.
I'd been expecting a big, fancy party. People milling around and chatting and eating fancy finger foods off silver plates. But it was so quiet and awkward. The people were all weird. Posh, but weird. Old. Sort of ghoulish looking.
The Colvilles welcomed James in and walked him to a grand piano, which was positioned on a raised platform.
It was made of plywood and didn't fit in with the rest of the house at all. It was like someone had built it as a DIY project over a few hours. But why? It looked so cheap and ugly and pointless.
The back half of the piano was obscured behind a curtain that draped from a suspension in the ceiling.
I was feeling the pressure. It was totally silent as I climbed on that stage. Everyone was watching me. I thought I'd just be background music. This was like I was the main event. I pulled out my sheet music and was ready to play when Mr. Colville said they had special music already prepared for me.
But when James says music, it wasn't really music.
It was just a series of chords, like C minor, D7 suspended fourth, and then F minor 6, like some kind of weird practice exercise. Play a series of rising chords for one beat. I said, "Is this really what you want me to play?" And they said yes. And they were paying. So I said, "Okay."
James played the chords as written on the sheet music, but he noticed something happen when he reached middle C, and the chords above it.
From the corner of my eye, I saw the people in the audience lean forward in their seats, then lean back again, when I got to the next part below the middle C.
The music went all the way up to the B above middle C. Then it started again from the beginning, but this time James was required to hold the notes for 2 beats.
I was starting to drift off, thinking about what I'd do with the money. I didn't need to concentrate because it's not like I was playing anything that took any brain power or anything. Then I noticed something weird.
C for 2 beats, D flat 2 beats, D 2 beats.
I could hear something, muffled but close by.
D sharp, E.
Every time I played a new chord,
F, G.
it was like a groaning sound.
This time, James was to play the chord progression, holding for 3 beats.
I could definitely hear it now. Every time I pressed down on the keys, I could hear this noise. I feel like it was coming from underneath the stage, maybe.
C, D flat, D, D sharp. What was it?
It was a person. Screaming. I stopped playing. I was sweating and I didn't want to look at the audience. I was frozen. Mr. Colville told me to keep going. I was so scared. So I did. The next section was the same 4 chords played for 4 beats. It was definitely screaming. It was so loud. It rattled the stage. I could feel the screams vibrating in my shoes. And then I played the final note.
The sound of the piano died away with the scream, and then the room was filled with silence. Mr. Colville walked over to the stage. James rose from his seat and began climbing down, knowing his performance was over.
They all said bravo and clapped for me. I was shaking. My legs were shaking. The butler man who'd let me in appeared, and I was guided out of the room and to the front door. He put an envelope in my hand with my money, and I left.
James drove home, confused about what he'd taken part in. The next day, feeling sick about it, he called the police.
Thank you for calling 999. What's your emergency, please?
He wasn't sure what to say, but he explained what had happened.
They were quite skeptical,
Why?
because they said that nobody lives at Bartlett Hall, and they'd never heard of the Colvilles.
Earlier this episode, I told you I wasn't able to enter Bartlett Hall, and that was correct. I wasn't able to go in because the house is owned by a private trust. It hasn't been lived in since 1962, and I'm told has never had any connection with anyone named Colville. So who were the couple who invited James to play piano? And who were the people at their party?
I have no idea. The police went and they said they found no makeshift stage or anything like that. I think they thought I was mad.
Is it possible it was some kind of elaborate prank?
But why? And the money they gave me was real, and it was a lot. They paid me £4,000 for that 5 minutes work. And I've never been able to explain it. But I hope I never, ever see those people again. And I really hope I didn't hurt someone that night.
A very strange story. If you have any information that might help us clear up what happened to James, please do get in touch. Now, I promised some updates from episode 1 and I'm not about to let you down. A listener named Carl has got in touch. His email reads as follows. Dear Mina, I used to live in Speck about 20 years ago and became familiar with the legend of the Black Cat of Speck. It's said that if you see it, you'll be cursed. Or at least that's the knowledge my then primary school children picked up on the playground from the local kids. Oh God, I hope not. He continues, also, I assume you know that Mrs. Foster is buried in the graveyard at the church. Worth a visit if you haven't already been. I did not know that, Carl, and will certainly be going to check the graveyard out. Thanks for letting me know. I really hope I'm not cursed. Next time on Speck.
Everyone said he was a vampire who slept in the graveyard. I could tell you the exact grave they said he slept in.
Speck was created, written, edited and produced by Jade Zhao. Copyright Jade Zhao 2025, all rights reserved. Mina was played by me and James was played by Leo Janati. For more information or if you've got something to say, please head to www.jadejao.com. That's JADEJIAO.com. If you've enjoyed listening and would like to help me out, you can support me for the price of a cup of coffee by going to ko-fi.com/jadejao. Thanks for listening and see you again next time. Bye.